Thanks for joining us. This is the AM News. Let's get into the details, starting with there's a strong push to allow the live telecast of high-profile cases that go before the courts to increase transparency. The Chief Justice accepted a recommendation by the Attorney General, Godfrey Yeboadami, to allow a live telecast of cases filed against the anti-LGBTQ+, two of which were at the Supreme Court yesterday. Godfrey Yeboadami says this is crucial in the interest of transparency. Now, member of our Legal Affairs Desk, Kweku Asante, has more from the Supreme Court, where the injunction applications against the Anti-LGBTQ Bill were caught up in a technicalities and fiery exchange of words.
It was barely 24 hours for the Supreme Court to commence hearing. The Attorney General wrote to the Chief Justice asking for journalists to be allowed to broadcast proceedings because of the huge public interest in the case, a request the Chief Justice accepted. The courtroom was packed, and the huge public interest in the case was obvious. Sponsors of the bill expected that the court would decide on the two injunction applications, potentially paving way for Parliament to try again to serve the President with copies of the bill passed by the House for his assent. But there was an anticlimax. The substance of the injunction application were not even discussed. First, lawyers for Richard Delaskai had two applications.
Notice for an order for leave to amend the release. On our motion or notice for an order of interlocutory injunction filed on the 7th of March 2024.
Even before the lawyer would conclude his application, Thaddeus Sori, a lawyer for the Speaker of Parliament, was on his feet in opposition.
Yeah, my lords, we have a preliminary point of law to take with regard to this particular application by way of an objection, and that would be the only ground upon which we would be dealing with this application. And yes, my lords, there are two ways by it's actually
you gave no notice of
it. It is
you gave no notice of it, did you?
Not by way of a formal application.
There was intense back and forth between Thaddeus Sori and Chief Justice Gertrude Tokono, who presided over the panel.
I'm sorry.
No, my lady, I've got it right.
You can hear me very well.
Yes, my lady.
You appreciate the pickle we are in.
Yes, my lady.
You filed an affidavit on the 15th of... Please hold on. Don't interrupt me. Please.
Oh, yes, my lady.
Always wait for me to learn.
Yeah, I'm not going to say.
Your substantive application, affidavit before us, is dated the 2nd of April. Listen, let me land. If you had just waited to understand my words instead of rushing to justify yourself, you would have admitted that you didn't have a formal notice to object.
My lady, it's
a lawyer,
yes,
like yourself, like you found yourself muddled up this morning.
Oh,
yes, you have. A lawyer files. I can see what his difficulty is. When you read, you can see he left out some words. You chose to denigrate that what happened in his expressions by describing it as muddled and confused. And the man now wants to correct himself by expressing it fully. And you say you have a preliminary legal objection.
Yes, my lady.
Where is the legality?
The legality lies in the fact that the motion paper invokes the jurisdiction of the court. And if there is an irregularity on the face of the motion paper, which I am pointing out as the foundation to which I am not accepting what he has found.
No, hold on.
Yes.
Which motion paper?
His motion for injunction.
The man is not seeking... Hold on.
Yes.
Whenever I start, stop.
Oh.
You are going to interrupt me.
Very well.
Then you wouldn't hear what I have to say to you.
Very well, my lady. That once there's an objection taken to it, you cannot overreach that objection with a proposal to amend.
Hold on.
So that's all I'm drawing the court's attention to.
Stop there, Mr. Stop there.
Yes,
stop there. Now, if you had given a formal notice, anyone would have known. But in your affidavit, you only described Your opinion.
No, what I found
That's not a preliminary legal objection.
Well, maybe it is not stated that it's stated as an opinion, but what I was stating what I found objectionable about it. And this court has also said that I don't even need that formal notice, that I can get up when it's about to move and take that preliminary objection. Trustees of the Synagogue Church of all nations. And the strain of them from the court that I didn't need.
Mr. Sorry, I'm not impressed by what you're doing.
Well,
but just finish it.
I'm sorry.
Finish it.
So I'm saying that
it's not fair to your friend. I don't think so. But you want to do it, do it.
I'm relying on the authorities from this court to take my preliminary objection, that I'm entitled to take it just when it's about to move it.
So just do it.
And my second point is that...
No, what is your first point?
The Attorney General was not opposed to the application of the lawyers. The court unanimously granted the prayer of lawyers for Richard Alaskai and allowed his application.
Our considered view is that the alleged preliminary objection is unnecessary and does not seek to assist any process before this court. Every party has an inherent right to present the appropriate formulation of their reliefs or other process before the court. The objection is dismissed.
As the court pleases, Valley.
You've taken our time and energy for nothing.
Then came the second case against the bill filed by researcher Dr. Amanda Odoi. Lawyers for Dr. Amanda Odoi raised objections against the language employed by Thaddeus Sori, a position the Chief Justice largely agreed with. But Thaddeus Sori says he had a reason for using such language.
It's necessary to say this. Mr. Sori, some of the material in your affidavit is extremely intemperate. I know they are not your affidavit, especially the affidavit of Mary Wendy Yeboah, which you have now withdrawn. Do well not to introduce such material.
I'm most grateful, my lady. Sometimes you respond to what comes from the other side. And that's the reason. But I'm taking cue. When they take a shot at you, you throw something back.
In this case also, the court ruled that Thaddeus Sori withdraws the process and file it again without the language the court described as temperate and inappropriate. Lawyers for Richard Alaskai say they are happy with how proceedings went, expressing support for the decision to allow the broadcast.
Our courts have nothing to hide, especially in this country. These constitutional matters are best placed in public domain so that everybody will hear and understand, to stop some of these speculations we have all around us. It puts an end to this making rounds of stories. We sound very strange.
Meanwhile, Attorney General and Minister for Justice Godfred Yeboah says the courts must lean more towards allowing the live telecast of such constitutional cases with huge public interest.
If you recall, about 2 years ago, one of my speeches to the Ghana Bar Association actually made a point that indeed, if the media were to have full and unhindered access to proceedings and all, it becomes so clear to the general public that when rulings are given by the court, they're actually on account of principles of law, and indeed most of the rulings of the court are right. I have suffered a lot personally in terms of the misrepresentation of court rulings and deliberate misrepresentation of what I say in court and what I do and all that. So I thought that the best way to avoid any undue misrepresentation of fact is to ensure transparency.
The hope by the Speaker of Parliament and sponsors of the Anti-LGBTQ Bill that there would have been conclusion on the injunction applications filed to restrain the Speaker of Parliament in terms of transmitting the bills to the President to sign would have been resolved today, have now been dashed. The court will now have to set a new date to constitute the panel to hear them. But the Speaker of Parliament's lawyers, obviously on the floor, quite pressing so hard to get this case to progress without the need to adjourn. Reporting for Joy News, Kweku Asante from the Supreme Court here in Accra.
Away from that, he's a monarch whose exemplary leadership has brought esteem, glory and dignity to his kingdom and etched the rich traditions and culture of the Asantes into global history books. Asante Hene Otumfuo Osei-Tutu II, the 16th occupant of the Golden Stool, has become the beacon of peace and a true leader par excellence. Bright Emmanuel Kweku tells the tale of a gallant man of the Asante, Berma Kweku Dia, whose legacies will be ingrained in the hearts and minds of not just his people, but Ghana and the world.
Monday, April 26, 1999, when Berima Kwekudua, as he was then known, swore the oath of allegiance to Asanteman and ascended the golden stool, Sikeja Kofi. He became the 16th Asante monarch and bore the name of the first Asantehene, Opemso Nana Osei Tutu, after the death of his brother, Nana Opokuwari.
You have to vie for the position with a number of people. In his case, about 6 people came to ask for vie for the position. And then the final authority is the Queen Mother. And the Queen Mother selected him.
His ascension came with the natural gifts of calm and radiance, which instantly inspires loyalty and motivates people around him. Not only has he won the hearts of his people, but the admiration of all, even beyond the shores of Ghana.
He doesn't discriminate. He loves everyone. He works here personally to ask about how we are faring.
The vision of Otumfuo Tutu II encompasses education, health, and economic development.
If we should go back in Ashanti history, it's like Osebosu, who was king of Ashanti. In the situation that we found ourselves with the negotiating, I think his diplomacy transcended everything else. He was very charming in the first meeting we had with the Victoria and Albert Museum and also with the British Museum.
Shortly after his installments, the Otumfuo Tutu II Foundation was launched as a relief plan for his people and as an extension, the whole of Ghana.
Through the World Bank assistance grant given to him, the fund was able to put up 6 classroom block, 6 teachers' apartment, Ulu, and then mechanized borehole, all this as a package for 22 different rural communities. Now we can boast of people in responsible positions in Ghana who, if not having the help offered by the king, they wouldn't have gotten to where they are now.
He made me pay bills of at least 35 students.
More than 35 school fees.
The Asantehene's pivotal role in women empowerment in the kingdom cannot be overlooked.
We knew how the system was working. If you have Queen Mother, even programs like maybe the opening of the Jubilee Hall, normally they wouldn't have invited Queen Mothers. His Royal Majesty has really encouraged Queen Mothers for us to know our deep position as a Queen Mother and our rules of engagement. He's really encouraged Queen Mothers to be leaders in our community and just not the regalia that we put on.
Otumfuo Tutu has brought peace and reconciliation to his kingdom since he's been in power.
Asante Yadonipa.
Asantes love and tolerate everyone. In February 2020, he became the first person to receive the Pillar of Peace Award. This is in recognition of the efforts that he put in restoring peace to the Dabon Kingdom after nearly 2 decades of chieftaincy crises.
The Christians are
my sons to try and find solutions to this, but I don't want anyone to take it for granted. No.
We will continue to pay homage to the Asantehene. He has shown love to we the Moses.
Yes, sir, they say, Oman Quantity, Oman and Wadinyansa. Not until we form more Ghana, any area singing.
Some of the things that he's doing and some of the things that he has done suggest that he is indeed above the standard of human being. So I would say he is a mini god.
To his people, the Asantehene Otumfuo to the second remains a true leader, a custodian of culture and a protector of the ancestral left in his care. Reporting for Joy News, my name is Emmanuel Bright-Kweku.
Quite a tale there, but in other stories, the Northern Regional Directorate of the Ghana Health Service is targeting to vaccinate about 38,000 people in the 10th round of COVID-19 vaccination campaign. The region has a total of 3 million people who've been vaccinated, with at least 1.5 receiving their first dose. About 1.3 have been fully vaccinated, with 717,518 receiving their booster. The Northern Regional Directorate of the Ghana Health Service, Abdullah Abubakari, disclosed this at a media briefing in Tamale.
COVID-19 vaccination campaign started on Sunday and is expected to end on Thursday, the 9th of May 2024. This is the 10th vaccination campaign being undertaken by the Northern Regional Health Directorate. The region has had 9 successful vaccination campaigns already. The Northern Regional Health Director, Dr. Abdullah Abubakari, who briefed the media, said the vaccination is on course.
In all, I mentioned a total target of 37,516, and we have 293 teams of vaccinators and volunteers, and 67 supervisors at different levels. They are all being recruited and trained to undertake this exercise for the campaign period. What strategy are we using? Ladies and gentlemen, our vaccination teams are mounting static sessions at various locations, as well as they move from house to house to vaccinate eligible members of the community, and they usually start from 7 a.m. and end at 5 p.m. each day.
Dr. Abubakari gave a breakdown of the COVID-19 cases recorded in the region since 2020.
We want to also take this opportunity to update you and the people of the Northern region on the current situation of the COVID outbreak in the region and how much progress we have made in our vaccination efforts. So as of yesterday, Monday, 6th May 2024, the region so far since the outbreak of the pandemic has recorded a total of 1,922 cases. I repeat, since the outbreak occurred 4 years ago, we recorded 1,922 cases. And we also recorded 32 deaths. The breakdown is as follows. For this year, 2024, so far we have not recorded any case. No case in the region. In 2023, we recorded 24 cases, but there was no death. In 2022, we recorded 55 cases with 1 death. In 2021, that's when we recorded much of the cases. We recorded a whopping 1,274 cases with 17 deaths. And in 2020, we recorded 569 cases with 14 deaths.
Now, the Mental Health Authority has emphasized the importance of addressing mental health concerns nationwide, particularly among women who are twice as likely to experience mental health issues as men. Acting Director of Medical Services at the Ankafo Psychiatric Hospital, Dr. Evezi Kwao, says the challenge of accessing mental health may soon be dealt with, as the National Health Insurance Authority has announced it was considering covering the cost of mental health services. Dr. Kwao has been speaking at the launch of Purple Month of Mental Awareness, organized by Emerge New Women.
Access to mental health care continues to be a major challenge as many are unable to access mental health services because of the cost factor. Emerge New Woman, in collaboration with the Mental Health Authority, joined forces to launch Purple Month for mental health awareness aimed at raising awareness about mental health issues, reducing stigma, and promoting mental health well-being. Speaking on behalf of the Mental Health Authority, Acting Director of Medical Services at the Ankafo Psychiatric Hospital, Dr. Evezi Kwao, noted the struggles many go through in accessing mental health services and hinted the challenge may very soon be over.
Okay, so it's been the case in the past that those who were accessing mental health care could not do so on the National Health Insurance. And so we had a scenario where patients who were unable to afford or who did not have any financial resource or backing to seek care on a regular basis were unable to come to the hospital. We had cases where people would relapse, go into a state of illness, and then have to go into so many uncomfortable situations. But now the good news is that the NHIA has made mention that very soon, very imminent, with us, we'll be having mental health care being assessed on the National Health Insurance Scheme. And so patients can walk into the hospital with their National Health Insurance card and access care for free. This is the outpatient services and also the medications that they get as well. This is very good news for us here in the mental health space, and we're excited about it. We look forward to it starting in the nearest future. This month, like you mentioned, is the Purple Month. It's the month for mental health awareness, and we want to let everyone know that our doors are open as a hospital, Ankafo Psychiatric Hospital, to anyone who is facing any form of challenge in their mental health.
Founder and CEO of Emerge New Woman, Lady May, outlined the purpose of the Purple Month and what her organization, with the support of the Mental Health Authority, is seeking to do.
We are visiting maternal units, women who have just had babies and need support to communicate, to educate, to interact with them so we can support them and draw their attention onto things that are pertaining after delivery. Because there are a number of challenges that women go through. We have downplayed it. We've given it different names. But if women don't receive the needed attention, what happens is it prolongs for a long time. It changes their personality, it changes their ability to perform better, it changes even their perception in life, thereby affecting productivity to the nation, because women outnumber men in this nation. There are a number of cases. The cases of mental health issues keeps increasing daily. It keeps increasing. And according to WHO, there's 2.3 million of the population of Ghana affected by mental health. WHO also states that women are twice likely to experience mental health than men. So it calls for attention. It calls for serious attention and support. And this is why we are in the Central Region.
Acting Central Regional Director of Health, Dr. Agnes Anani, emphasized how mental health issues should be a critical concern for all.
What we've decided to do for this month is, one, we formed a team, and the team is going around in our various institutions. We are going to the churches, we are going to the mosques, we are going to the lorry parks, we are going to any place where there are a group of people to educate them about mental health awareness.
The initiative brought together people from academia, the traditional council, students, among others, to increase knowledge about mental health, addressing the stigma surrounding mental health illness, and encouraging help-seeking behaviors among individuals facing mental health challenges.
For our final story, let me take you back to the Shanti region, where the Education Directorate has tasked heads of second cycle schools to be innovative and exhibit exceptional leadership to be self-resourced in running their institutions. The management teams of the schools are being trained to effectively run their respective schools, demanding less from the government. The training will ensure the sustainability of public educational institutions. Here's a report by Clinton Yeboah.
Public schools are often poorly resourced. The quality of teaching and learning, control and running of day-to-day activities of schools are characterized by limited supply of resources and inadequately skilled staff. This has informed an intervention from the Ashanti Regional Education Directorate to offer training to institutional heads, administrators, accountants, heads of departments, deans of disciplines and matrons from about 150 senior high schools in the region. The Made in Ashanti Regional Education Leadership Summit is themed Touching the Heart, Head and Hand through Transformational Leadership with a Global Approach. Regional Director of Education Dr. William Amankor Apia says the in-house training is to enhance the quality of education provided to students.
Their headship, their directorship, the way they manage education. We want an improvement upon that. It's a training. How can we be so fruitful? How can we have critical mindsets? How can we see we have our curriculum, we have everything, but how can we still work in having a critical mindset?
The training paired life coach and industry experts for school heads to explore effective leadership styles focused on innovation, emotional intelligence and self-resourcing. Former rector of the Ghana Institute of Management and Public Administration, GEMPA, Professor Stephen Ade, is entreating school heads to employ personal investment opportunities to be financially stable.
Saying is this, that at the end of the day, at best you should take your salary as a seed and you must take responsibility for your own financial future. You use your salary as a catalyst. But no matter what you do, I don't think that the average teacher is going to be paid enough to meet all their needs. They must also aim at making sure that they do save and invest for their own future, either in tier 3 of the pension scheme in Ghana or elsewhere. No matter what they do, of course, everybody wants a salary increase. I want it, you want it. But what I'm saying is that alone will not solve their long-term financial needs, especially in their retirement. And they must save and invest. And I'm encouraging all of them to aim at becoming millionaires.
Former Ashanti Regional Director of the Ghana Education Service, Joseph Onyina, is admonishing school heads to champion a competency-based education agenda in schools.
That is that our current education system is examination focused. The education examination focused. People do all that they can to ensure that they pass and get the good grades. And that reform is that our education now must be competency based. Curriculum must be competency based. We will assess students as to what they are able to do.
Reporting for Joy News, my name is Clinton Yeboah.
On that note, we wrap up the AM News. Up next is the news review, and Kojo Poku, the energy analyst and chairman of the Manifesto Committee on Energy, will be joining us for that. Please don't go away.